This video will show you how to calculate the estimated dissemination rate based on the foot and mouth disease outbreak data set that we've already been working with. So we're going to work with the epi-day variable that is calculated by subtracting the 6th of February from the day. And the first thing we'll do is insert a new column and call this epi week. And then we're going to use the quotient formula, and this returns the integer portion of a division. So basically the division without the remainder. And what we're going to do is divide epi-day by 7. Now this formula is not quite working yet, because that tells me that for day 10 the quotient divided by 7 is 1, and for day 7 it's 1. So we have to modify this a little bit. If we put in a -1 there and a +1 at the end, we get a formula that works. So if we copy that with Control-C all the way down, you quickly notice that we have some cells that don't have a value because they don't have an infection date. But now we can see the formula's working. So filtering on epi-day, if we filter 1, 5 and 7, you'll see that comes back with epi week 1, and if we filter 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14, that comes back with epi curve 2. So the next thing we'll do is delete out all of those properties that don't have infection dates. So on the data menu, click filter, and then filter on epi week, find those that have hash value and tick them off, and now you'll see that we just have data points that have infection dates. So copy all of that to a new sheet, paste special so that and just paste the values so that you don't get the formula, and then on the insert tab, insert a pivot table whilst you've got all the data highlighted. Now what we're going to do is pivot by epi week, so just drag that down into the row labels and also use that as what you count by. So it starts off with a sum, so click the little down arrow, select value settings, value field settings, and select count. And you'll see that in week 1 we had 5 cases, in week 2 33, and so forth all the way down. It's easier to work with data outside of the pivot table, so we're just going to copy all of that with Control-C. We'll just put that over here, and let's insert a new column. So we'll just label these with week, number, and starting date, and count, and EDR. For the EDR, we can't do that for week 1 because there's no week prior, so move down to week 2 and enter the formula equals the count in week 2 divided by the count in week 1. So copy that formula, use the Control and arrow keys to move quickly around, and Control-V to paste, and then you have the estimated dissemination rate for every week in the outbreak apart from week 1. Now for starting date, the starting date was the 6th of the 2nd 2001, and in the next cell down we'll just add the formula equals that plus 7 and copy that again all the way down. Now we're ready to plot. So highlight all that and go to the insert menu and click on line for a line graph, and you'll bring up a line graph with all of that on it. We'll just expand that to make it bigger. Now the blue line is the count. We want to get rid of that, so just click on that and delete, and then you'll have your estimated dissemination rate. And we might just right click on that and say move chart and put that in a new sheet, which we'll call EDR, and so it takes up the whole sheet. And the only thing you're missing now is axis titles. So on the layout menu, axis titles, primary horizontal axis title, title below the axis, and enter up there week of outbreak, and vertical axis rotated title, and put in there estimated dissemination rate. What we're going to do is put that onto a log scale, but because the estimated dissemination rate is a ratio, it makes more sense to put it on a log scale because it's multiplicative. So if we highlight, point and click to that vertical axis, right click and select format axis, and then tick the logarithmic scale button and close, and what you now get is quite useful because you've got the reference line of 1 in the middle. Anything above 1 is when the estimated dissemination rate is above 1, which means the outbreak's spreading, and below 1 means it's under control. The final thing to do is delete off the title and the legend, and we'd like a few more ticks on this axis, so right click on that, format axis again, and over here on major unit, let's make that 1, and minor unit will make that 1, and just select minor tick type and put that outside as well. And now what we've got is we've got tick marks that show us what the different numbers are going up the axis. And there's your plot of estimated dissemination rate.